Alright, so right now I'm going to try and create a bot that trades my own strategy and let's see how it goes. I'm going to be using Python to program this bot. I'm also going to use ChatGPT to help me. So yeah, let's see how it goes. So before I could even think about building a trading bot, I first needed ChatGPT to understand exactly how I trade. My strategy isn't something that's easy to explain in a single sentence, so I spent a lot more time than I thought I would, kind of explaining to ChatGPT how my strategy works. I took screenshots of chart examples, drew on them to highlight what I was looking for, and created a detailed text prompt containing all of my trading rules and steps I follow before entering a trade. The goal wasn't to just tell ChatGPT when to buy or sell, I wanted it to understand the entire decision making process behind every trade. The things like identifying highs and lows, market structure, equilibrium zones, confirmations, and all the conditions that need to be met before considering a trade setup. Once I had all of that documented, I started feeding it into ChatGPT and explaining the strategy piece by piece. The idea was to create a foundation that the AI could use before we even started writing any type of code. After that, the next challenge was figuring out how to turn those trading rules into an actual bot. I got ChatGPT to start generating Python scripts based on my strategy and then began a lot of testing and forward testing. At this stage, I wasn't really concerned about profitability. What I really wanted to know was whether the bot actually understood what we had taught it. I spent a lot of time watching how it identified highs and lows, checking whether it was detecting market structure correctly, and comparing its analysis to what I would personally mark out on the charts when I was trading. Whenever I noticed something that wasn't quite right, I would go back to ChatGPT, explain the issue, start trying to adjust the logic, and generate new versions of the script and fixes that I could do to help better the understanding of my strategy. After that, I went back to backtesting and forward testing. The process became a massive cycle of testing, finding mistakes, refining the logic, and testing again. One of the biggest challenges that I found was that some concepts are very easy for humans to spot visually on the charts, but much more difficult to define in physical code. I knew exactly what I wanted the bot to see, but translating that into something a computer could consistently identify was a completely different challenge. Eventually, we reached the point where the bot was starting to identify the highs and lows the way I was wanting. It began to recognize market structure more accurately, and logic was slowly becoming closer to how I personally would analyze the market. But every time it was taking a trade, I couldn't see why it was actually placing that trade. Okay, so as you can see here, it actually has placed a trade which looks like it's about to hit stop loss. Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay. Oh, surprisingly didn't. But it actually has placed its first trade. I don't think my code completely follows my strategy completely because I don't see why it actually took this trade. So I need to work on it a little bit more.